And it's crazy to think like this was in my body and I was going about life and pushing my body to the limit where it just couldn't take it anymore.
Hey everyone, and don't forget to order my book, Hidden Struggle, Breaking Free and Staying Free. It's being sold right now on Amazon, so do not miss out. Hi everyone. So today we have our guest speaker, Kaya. Kaya, how about you give us a little introduction of yourself?
Hi, so I'm Kaya Williams. I own my own at-home bakery called Sunshine Bakes. I'm a military spouse, I'm a mother, and my passion's baking. And I feel like because of my passion, God has given me this gift and I'm able to reach a lot of people through my gift. I make custom cakes, macarons, muffins, scones. I've done all different types of baking.
Okay, okay. By the way, her macarons are very delicious. I love them.
Thank you. Thank you. A lot of people call them crack cookies. I do not, indeed. You know, it's just a lot of sugar, but um, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Can you give me a little testimony of how you came to the Lord?
So I was saved back in 2009 when I was 16 years old, I believe. It happened in my aunt's living room. It was really funny because they were all talking about like their own testimonies and I don't know, just things that were happening to them. And all of a sudden I just started seeing stuff on the wall. And I thought I was crazy. And it was, I don't know, I was seeing not like shadows, but like lights reflecting. And one of the shapes looked like my grandfather, which at the time he passed away. So I saw like his shape on the wall and it kept just moving up. And I'm like, okay, I'm sorry to interrupt y'all's conversation, but I'm seeing stuff on the wall. And then explained to them what I was seeing, and we kind of just went this whole thing. And that night, I gave my life to the Lord, and at the same time, I was given my spiritual gifts. So I have praying in the spirit or speaking in tongues. I think just when I was a teen, I was going through a lot, just with my own mother and my own father, that I needed these spiritual gifts just because of the battles ahead of me. I needed to be equipped, which I was not ready for. But I mean, nobody's ready for life. So I don't know. I went to church, and then my dad eventually became a pastor. And he did like small groups out of the home where I was able to pray over friends. I've had friends come and I would pray over people and heal people. Um, but yeah.
Okay, okay. So, when you experienced that encounter with your aunt, did they explain to you what was going on in that situation?
Yeah, me, because at first my aunt, like, she was getting some stuff pulled off of her, and we were both standing up and like raising our hands, and I heard her drop to the floor, and it scared me. And pretty much, I think that day too, she rededicated her life,
Mm.
and I could just hear like God prophesying through my aunt saying like, I have great plans for you. I love you. I care for you. And I started crying, and then I don't know, I just started praying in the spirit and it just came over me. I was like, what the heck is going on? I don't know what this is.
Hmm.
Um, and didn't really understand it, but like obviously I would hear my aunts and like my grandma praying in the spirit. Like it's a lot of my family members had it. So I say it was like my first experience in like spiritual experience, there reading books and listening to different, I guess, podcasts, not really, but mostly books on like spiritual warfare and all types of stuff, really.
Okay. So you was mentioning that you got baptized with the Holy Spirit, start speaking in tongues. So how was that encounter?
I guess trying to remember back to then,
Hmm.
um, it felt like very powerful, like a jolt. Like I don't know how to explain it. I really can't. But I just felt like a jolt of power go through my body.
Hmm.
And even now, still, like when I'm praying over people, I'll feel like a jolt
Hmm.
go through me. And it
Hmm.
happened so long ago. So So once I like kind of understood things more,
Mm.
I think it was in my early 20s when that
Okay,
happened.
okay.
So,
So I heard you were saying that you start walking in healing deliverance, like praying for people for healing and so forth. How was that encounter?
I remember one of my friends not like having an episode, but having like suicidal thoughts and things like that. And I was like, come to my house right now. Like, you gotta come here. And I started talking to him. And then I told my dad, and he came into our house, and we just started praying over him, laying hands. And all of a sudden my dad caught him because he went limp.
Mhm.
So I felt like a lot of spirits came off of him, and he was delivered. And I've seen stuff like that through my dad's church, and praying over people when someone had like a cane, and then seeing them drop their cane and walk around the
Mhm.
church without a cane. That's crazy.
Mhm.
And then I guess just recently in my life, earlier this year, I was diagnosed with a type of thyroid cancer.
Mhm.
So I had to get both of my thyroid glands removed.
Wow.
And now I'm on like a pill that like acts like my thyroid gland. And
Mhm.
just the whole process of that, I just saw a miracle and just in my own life, and how God is still continue. He's so faithful. He's so loving. He's so caring. Like, um, I could not be here right now. And I know that I am for a reason for my testimony. And so many people have reached out to me like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get my thyroid checked. And that was like so many problems leading up to it after having children and gaining so much weight and not being able to lose it and trying to eat healthy, but it's still not working. I'm working out and it's not going anywhere. So it
Mhm.
was a very frustrating couple of years, and like very depressed, overly tired, and exhausted coming up to it. I mean, I was baking,
Mhm.
and it's crazy to think like this was in my body, and I was going about life and pushing my body to the limit where it just couldn't take it anymore. And through the process and how he carried me, even with my surgeon and being a believer, and my surgeon saying, well, this is the way God created us. This is like what goes through your like thyroid gland. And, he created us this very unique way and so detailed.
Mhm.
I don't know, it was a very empowering and kept me so humble.
Mhm.
I try to stay humble. I didn't tell a lot of people at first because I didn't want people asking questions, but I wanted to stay quiet. But I know a lot of my clients and people are concerned, like, hey, what's going on? Are you okay? I'm like, I just need you to pray for me. That's it. Like, I'll share my story when it's time. I don't have to do radiation. Um, I won't need any other surgeries afterwards. It did not spread anywhere else to my body. Glory to God. I don't even have a scar, really. You can't even see it.
Mhm.
I still use my business like a channel to reach people in a loving way. Like, my business name is called Sunshine Bakes because I want to be the sunshine. I want to be a light for people. I want to be an example for people. And I'm hoping obviously I'm still here. I can continue to do that and just being a light. Everyone needs a little sunshine, even on a sad day. And if that's just through a cake, or if I'm just saying, hey, I like your shirt, or, have a good day, and just, oh my gosh, your backgrounds are so good. I'm like, good, because I pray over everything I make. And I'm hoping like, you know, people can feel God's presence through my business.
Yes. What is the survival rate in having thyroid cancer?
I actually don't know.
Okay,
To
okay,
tell you, to be so on personal with you, I did not research anything. I
okay.
do not want anything in my mind that
I
would
get you.
create a doubt
Hmm.
or any fear that God
Yeah.
was going to pull through for me. So
Mm-hmm.
I honestly did not research anything until after my surgery and I was completely healed. Then I realized when I went back through and saw all the symptoms, I was like, I have
Mm-hmm.
all of these.
Wow.
This makes so much sense
Hmm.
now, why I was acting the way I was, or how I was feeling the way I was feeling
Hmm.
in my body.
Hmm.
And even since, because I had my surgery in May, and then since July, I started like my new health journey, and I've lost 12 pounds since then, and that's the most I've lost in like years. So just seeing like, okay, there's progress. This is working now. My body's working and functioning the way it needs to. But I didn't want to like scare myself. And like I said, I didn't want to put doubt or fear. And I knew that God was going to deliver me. But it was really funny because when I first found out,
Mhm.
my surgeon said, okay, it's 95%, it is cancer.
Mm.
You have two options. You can either remove both glands or you can just take the right side. If you take the right side, then you're more likely, like in a couple months, we have to check it. And if there was cancer, you're going to have another surgery and pull it out.
Mm.
And then if you take both, it's one surgery, same day, you stay overnight just to check your calcium levels, then you go home the next day. And I prayed over a lot. I was like, all right, Lord, well, like, what do I do? And he told me the choice is mine. He said, regardless of whatever you pick or choose, I'm going to be with you
Mm.
throughout the whole process. So I was like, chop them both out. I don't want to risk it, which I'm glad I did because it was in both sides.
Mm.
But I also too had an enlarged thyroid. So that also caused a lot of more issues too as well. Um, just a lot of stuff. Your thyroid does a lot of things
Yeah.
for your body. It's
Yes.
they call it like the butterfly gland for
Mm.
I feel like well, it looks like a butterfly and also too like just what it does. It evolves and just does so much for you and blood pumping going to your heart, to your brain and like sending all the signals like, hey, you hurt here. Like it's just phenomenal how God created us.
Yeah, and that's amazing because we can't put God in a box. God heals us in many ways, in different ways. God can use the doctor's hands to heal you, but also he can do it supernaturally as well.
Yes, absolutely. And I knew this was something I kind of just had to go through.
Mhm.
And then it was so funny because I remember my dad praying over me, like, we're going to decree and declare, that it's not that.
Mm.
And I'm like, this is just something that I have to go through as much as I don't want it to be there. Like, there's a process to it and God has a purpose for it. And I'm already seeing it come to light. And it's just like, wow, this is like I just am still in shock. I was like, oh wow, I had cancer in my body because I had my thyroid checked a few years ago before we even moved to California, and they said the little like nodules, which I call them, it's like a freckle on your thyroid.
Mhm.
Um, they said they were non-cancerous at first, so
Mm.
at some point
It
they could
turned.
have turned, and
Mm.
they said there's only either if you three ways for you to get it. Either it's like through generation, like genetically,
Mhm.
or radiation, which I wasn't around anywhere. I bake, so I don't nothing like, that
Yeah,
was
no, I get you.
totally
Mm.
or just random. It's like, oh, it's just like, oh, surprise,
Mhm.
epiphany kind of thing. So
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
don't know. I just see it as a God thing.
Mhm.
And now it's just a part of my story. I mean, I personally wanted like a super cool scar to be like, yeah, I had cancer and look what God did. But
Mhm.
it's kind of gone. So, but it could still be like, hey, look what God did. So that's cool.
Yeah. And this was May this year?
Yes.
Oh, wow. And the scar is already leaving you. Wow.
Yeah. A couple weeks out, I got like um the bandage removed and then just kind of you massage the area. You just can't lift anything over 10 pounds. So obviously it wasn't baking. I couldn't drive for like a month. So I was grateful that my mother-in-law, my mom came down to help. So they helped take care of me. And my husband took a month off. So he was able to like tend to the kids and keep them busy. Um, it was a whole team effort. I couldn't have done it without God, without my mom, without my mother-in-law, without my husband, like it would have not been possible. And it was so smooth. Um, and just grateful for like clients and my friends that like came in and donated and made meals for me or gave me gift cards so we didn't have to worry about eating. Like that was just a blessing in itself. And I'm so grateful. It's just such a God thing. It's
Yeah.
such a the glory is all his. It is not mine.
Wow. How was your business birthed out?
It kind of just, I don't know, poof, out of thin air. I've always been baking for a while. I went to culinary school back in 2014. Just like I did like a 6 month program for baking and pastry diploma. I ended up doing an externship at a very well-known bakery in Portland, Oregon. I got hired on. I worked my way up to the shift lead at night, and me and my best friend now, well, we became best friends. We both went to culinary school together. Um, and we both like split the shift lead position, and she actually still works there. She just hit her 10-year mark, which is awesome. Um, and then I met my husband. I got pregnant. Then I moved and worked in a couple different bakeries. After I had my second kid, I kind of was just like, I don't know what to do with life. And being a military wife, it's really hard because you're moving all the time. It's hard to have like a consistent job. So I was like working odd in jobs like Starbucks, in different warehouses, at UPS, and like just didn't, I don't know, I was just praying, and wherever God sent me, I just was like, all right, I'm just gonna let my light shine, but like I need like actual like what is my purpose in life? What am I here to do? Um and then I got back into baking, and I ended up making macarons for one of my friends' baby showers because she was obsessed with macarons. I was like, oh, I guess I'll try them. And then that's how I got my first order. Lady tried my macarons. I was like, these are delicious. Do you sell these? I was like, my friends are been kind of poking me like, yeah, you should start selling your stuff. And I was like, yeah, I do. So I quickly made a Facebook page and like ordered business cards off Vistaprint. And then pretty much made a name through myself through all like the military like spouse pages on Facebook, and it just kind of caught like wildfire fire. And then still hit the ground running ever since. I started back in like Kentucky and Tennessee, and then obviously we PCS, which means my husband got a new job, so we moved to California. And I was terrified to restart my business, and I was scared because I kind of, in a way, made my business my God, and just
Mm.
that got me through so much of like my pain and depression, and like I use like that to fuel me to like as my therapy. And so I was scared like I know it's so expensive here, like expense wise, and like ordering supplies. Like at first, we did when we lived here, we lived in an apartment. We didn't live on the military base. So I was like, I know it's not going to be possible for me to like sustain it in this little apartment. So we ended up moving on to
Mm.
base like 3 months after getting here. And so I was like, well, I'm going to try again. It's just a saturated market and it's hard, but I did it. And that's kind of how I started here. And then I connected with another military spouse that ran a market on base. So I started going to that, and that helped really kickstart my business here. And then I started doing markets off of the military base and trying to get out and make connections then. And then I ended up scrolling through Instagram one day and realizing that Heather Lindsay was here in LA. And I was like, oh, she has like a women's night. So I'm going to go. And I ended up going, and just where I was in my life at that point was rough just because of everything with not knowing that I had cancer in my body at the time, but just like
Mm.
emotional turmoil and depression and anxiety. And I felt a lot of things released off of me. And in the message that she said that night, and I went straight up to the altar. I got prayed for, a lot of things. I just felt all the weight just come off of me, and ended up kind of getting some redirection from the Lord, like, all right, Lord, well, what do I do with my business? I don't know what to do. And he told me to reach out to them for wildflower nights. And he's like, you're going to email them, and you're going to ask them to make their dessert table because they had donuts out. So I kind of thought, that's interesting.
Mm.
Maybe I can have my treats out. And so I ended up emailing them and letting them know that, hey, I don't have a lot to offer, but I make baked goods and I'd like to sow into your ministry. And it ended up happening. And it was funny because I doubted, and you just don't know what doors God's going to open for you. And when
Yes.
He speaks to you, listen and be obedient.
Mhm.
And He's ready to answer prayers. And here I am now, a year later, still serving for Wildflower Nights. And I've made so many connections and met so many beautiful women that were there for me, even during my surgery. My friend Tish drove all the way from LA all the way to La Jolla, which is San Diego,
Mhm.
to be there in the room and pray over me before my surgery. Like, when I say God appointment,
Mm.
there's like divine appointments God gives us with people. Things just start happening, and you just got to keep walking it out. You just got to walk it out sometimes. And it's cool to finally see like the things I prayed for so long ago, like coming to pass. And the glory is all His. It's just amazing to me.
Mhm. Yeah, it's so amazing how God sets up those opportunities for you to walk in, especially when we be in a desert time and be like, God, when that door is going to open, and then you just see doors opening for you. It's just so amazing. And then the relationships you built in that. So how long have you been serving at Wildflowers?
So last year around this time, October is when I went to the first event. After that, I served a year. I just hit my year mark. But it was funny too, because at one point, I remember, I think it was like their December event, one of them got canceled. I did like one, I think it was the first event I was gonna do and host. And Heather's son ended up like breaking his arm, and so they canceled the event. And I felt so bad because like obviously it's a commute for me. It's like almost 2 hours um in traffic, 2.5 hours in traffic. And so I drove all the way up there, and then they canceled the event, and I was already at the venue, and I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, Lord. And of course I got super fleshy and was like, I drove all the way up here. Like I had like 3 anxiety attacks coming up here, and I have all these treats and I don't know what to do with them. So I ended up like just calling Heather's assistant, Shanice, and like, hey, I know it was canceled, but would you still like, I'm up here. Would Heather and her family enjoy these, or do you guys have another event like you could use them or freeze them? Like, I don't have any use for them. I'm not gonna I didn't feel comfortable selling something that I'm sewing into someone's ministry, so I'm not going to
Mhm.
charge for this. So
Mhm.
I wouldn't, I mean, I could take them back home and yeah, they would sell, but it just wouldn't feel right in my heart. And
Mhm.
so she's like, yeah, of course. And so she ended up taking them to Heather's home, and they love them. And she's like, oh yeah, she's making this every single time. Like, what? So, and kind of just went on from there, that I was able to still serve for Wildflower Nights and, create these relationship. And I can call these people my family now. It's just, I don't know, God's just so.
Yes, yes. And do you have any last words, encouraging words for those who are starting off in their businesses, or just those who want to, like, they hear a calling that the Lord has for them? What advice can you give them?
um I feel like once you do find your purpose, you don't need to tell everybody. Sometimes you're hidden for a while. God hides you for a while. Like you have those hidden seasons. Like hold those promises in your heart, because once you start, I mean, yes, it's good to speak things out, but don't just be telling everybody, because not everyone's going to want those blessings for you.
Mm,
um so kind of keep it to yourself for a little bit and pray and really like submit to God, and wherever He leads you and directs you, He's going to guide you. It's just us, we get in the way. And God's not going to force His hand on us. He wants to give to us, but we have to be willing to receive. And something I always tell my kids and myself every single day, it's my favorite like quote. It's from the movie The Help. You is kind, you is smart, you is important. And then I add my little twist. You a child of God. Fire God is in you. Fire God goes through you. You have a good day. I say that over my kids every single day. I say it over myself. I send the heavenly host before me to encamp around me, to encamp around my family, my friends. Just keep your head up. Do not give up. Keep the faith. Stand your ground. Stand firm. And sometimes you just have to walk it out. You may not know where you're going. And I always feel like that sometimes, like, oh, I am about to do something really crazy with my business and do something scary because custom orders has been like my moneymaker is making like cakes and stuff. So, and for me to now just post on my social media, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm shifting is very scary for me, but I'm going to be led by faith and led by God. And I know this new transition, whatever it is going to be, have a great foundation to it. He's the foundation, so it has to succeed. It cannot fail because it's a God thing. It's not a me thing, it's a God thing. So just remember, it's a God thing, it can't fail. It won't, it can't.
Mm-hmm. Man, I love that how you said, you got to keep it to yourself because we are hidden sometimes. And
Mm-hmm.
God have that divine appointment time where he will reveal you.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
we get so excited. We're like, oh my gosh, I got to tell my mama, I got to tell my
Mhm.
daddy, I got to tell my friends, I got to tell what God is doing in my life. But, just stay hidden. And I did that too, like, obviously, with my surgery. Like, I didn't tell a bunch of people. Like, I obviously had to post on my page, like, I'm not taking orders due to a health reason. And
Mhm.
of course, people ask, and I told people, please don't ask out of respect, just this is what I need. Because people are like, what do you need? What do you need? And it was overwhelming. Like, I don't know
Mhm.
what I need Jesus
Yeah.
through this.
Mhm.
So just
Mhm.
continue to, like, I guess, stay hidden. And when God allows you to reveal things, then you can. But I've noticed that enjoy those quiet seasons when it's just you and God. We all need those like silent seasons in the wilderness. And I just came out, and it's so funny because Heather just posted, or well, not posted, but she just preached on that being in the wilderness. And when she said that, I was like, wow, it's nice to actually be coming out of this wilderness. I'm coming out finally, Lord. Hopefully,
Amen.
not another one right now. We're coming out. So just to come out of that is just like in a miracle in itself. So, and
Yeah.
praise him through everything, not just in good, not just in bad, just in everything,
Mhm.
you know, through
Yes.
all the ups and downs.
Yes, because those wilderness season is to build us up because God, he wants to trust us with so much more. And
Mm-hmm.
he know that if we don't go through that wilderness season and allow him to mold us in that, what he has for us can hinder us in our growth with him.
Yeah.
It's because God, he has all those blessings for us. He has all those things for us. But we have to go through a season of trials and tribulations.
We sure do.
Yes.
But it's worth it. It is so worth it.
It
Walking
is.
this walk is not easy.
Mhm.
But also too, just remember God is not walking ahead of us. We're not walking behind him. He's walking alongside of us.
Yes. Yes.
He's
Yeah.
walking us through this. He's
Mhm.
right next to us.
He
That's
will
why we have
never
the
leave
Holy
us nor
Spirit. He
forsake us.
never leave us nor forsake us. That's what's so awesome about God. He sent the Holy Spirit. So we have him 24/7.
Yes.
So you
Yeah.
can talk about your anger. You can talk about, hey, I'm feeling this way. I don't like this. Just know those feelings are gonna go away,
Mhm.
you
Yes.
know, and good
Mhm.
good things will come. They will. You will get out of it.
It's
Because
only
if
for a
I can,
season.
yep, it's only for a season. And if God can pull me out of all that,
Mhm.
options, he's there's no limit. He doesn't have a limit. We put the limits on God.
Yes.
So we
Mhm.
just have to remember that
Mhm.
and uplift and share and love.
Mhm. So, Kaya, can you give us your Instagram, your Facebook, your YouTube, and how they can reach you and buy those delicious macarons?
So my Instagram is at Sunshine Bakes little underscore. I think the little dash thing that goes below 2020. And then on Facebook, it's just at Sunshine Bakes, and you'll see my photo. It is me, and I am holding a heart macaron. I also do ship. I have shipped to Oregon, New York, Tennessee, Kentucky, Nevada, Colorado, Hawaii. So all over the place. So you can get these macarons
You guys hear that?
anywhere, anytime, anytime.
And she also has it on Etsy as well.
I do. You can order through Etsy as well. And then I have a stand store too. So if you actually want my recipes, I have my macaron recipe, my Swiss buttercream recipe, and my famous spice cake recipe on there right now. So check it out. You can bake like me.
Well, thank you so much, Kaya, for being on. It was a pleasure having you on today.
Thank you so much. And thank you for the opportunity. I'm just so excited for your podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
You have a wonderful day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.